A 1954 newspaper report on Banu's match against Baba Pahlavan. Accounts from Banu's surviving family members suggest that her strength, combined with the conservative attitudes of the time, made her leave her hometown of Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh for Aligarh. There, she trained under a local wrestler named Salam Pahlavan. In a 1987 book, author Maheshwar Dale wrote that Banu's fame attracted people from far and wide as she fought several bouts in Uttar Pradesh and Punjab. She used to fight exactly like a male wrestler, he wrote. However, a few said that Hamida Pahlavan and male wrestlers would make a secret pact, and the opponent would deliberately lose. Banu also faced challenges from people who were infuriated by her public performances. In Maharashtra's Pune city, a bout with male wrestler Ramchandra Solanki had to be cancelled because the local wrestling federation objected, the Times of India reported. Another time, Banu was booed and stoned by fans after she defeated a male opponent. The police had to step in and control the crowds, according to the newspaper. In his book Nation at Play, A History of Sport in India, academic Rana Hoysen examined how Banu's presence complicated the sport. The blurring of sports and entertainment in these events is illustrated by the fact that Banu's bout was to be followed by a bout between two wrestlers, one lame and the other blind, he wrote. Mr. Sen writes that Banu complained to Morarji Desai, then Chief Minister of Maharashtra State, about an unofficial ban on her wrestling bouts. Desai responded that the bouts had not been banned on grounds of her gender but because of several complaints about the promoters, who were apparently putting up dummies to challenge Banu. Even as men mocked her accomplishments and questioned her credentials, Urdu feminist writer Karachulain Haider paints a different picture of Banu. In her short story Dalanwala, Haider writes of her domestic helper Fakira going to watch a wrestling match in Mumbai and returning to say no one had been able to defeat the lioness. According to reports, in 1954, Banu defeated Vera Kistelin, known as Russia's female bear, in less than a minute in a bout in Mumbai. The same year, she announced she would go to Europe to fight wrestlers there. But not long after these heavily promoted fights, Banu appeared to vanish from the wrestling scene. Hamida Banu with her family. Image source Faraz Sheikh. Image caption. Banu, wearing a pink shirt, with some of her family members. This was the point where her life changed, according to accounts from people who knew her. By then, Banu and Salam Pahlavan had begun traveling regularly between Aligarh, Mumbai and Kalyan, a town on the outskirts of Mumbai, where they had a dairy business. Banu's grandson, Faraz Sheikh, says Salam Pahlavan, Banu's coach, did not like the idea of her going to Europe. Mr. Sheikh's father was Banu's adopted son. Sahara, Salam Pahlavan's daughter, says that he had married Banu, whom she considered her stepmother. But Mr. Sheikh, who lived with Banu until her death in 1986, disagrees. She indeed stayed with him, but never married him, he says. To stop her from going to Europe, he beat her with sticks, breaking her hands, says Mr. Sheikh. This account is supported by her neighbor Rahil Khan, who says her legs were also fractured in the attack. I remember it well, he says. She was unable to stand. It healed later, but she could not walk properly for years without a lathy stick. Sahara, however, maintains that the relationship was cordial. Eventually, Salam Pahlavan returned to Aligarh while Banu stayed on in Kalyan. Ms. Sahara says Banu visited him once in Aligarh when he was on his deathbed. Banu made a living from selling milk and renting out some buildings. When she ran out of money, she would sell homemade snacks by the roadside. Her last days were difficult, says Mr. Sheikh, about the little-known athlete who fought fiercely against the norms of her times.